Incredibism city the Nexus is an extraordinary concept of urban design, where the fluidity of dimensions and connections forms the foundation of its existence. The city pulses with life, transcending the conventional boundaries of reality. Let's break down each of the distinctive characteristics of the Nexus and its art with a deeper perspective. Convergence towers. At the heart of the Nexus, these towering structures stand as the literal and figurative beacons of convergence. Their semi-transparent material is a metaphor for how the city itself blurs the lines between distinct realities. Their constant shifting and shimmering surface are manifestations of this overlap of dimensions, showing the dynamic flow of energy between inhabitants and their parallel selves. As you stand before the convergence towers, you might see the faint silhouettes of other versions of yourself from parallel dimensions, all living their own potential lives within the same space. Artistic influence. The convergence towers inspire sculptures of intertwining threads and spiraling shapes that represent this convergence. Art installations could feature reflective surfaces that shimmer with projected light, mimicking the fluidity of dimensions and possibilities, always in flux. Pathways of possibility. The streets themselves are alive in the Nexus. The pathways of possibility don't just offer physical routes, they represent the multitude of potential futures and decisions. Their constant shifting and glowing form makes each walk through the city a new journey of discovery, as the roads light up in response to your thoughts and actions. Imagine stepping onto one of these paths and feeling the potential for every decision pulsate beneath your feet, each color shift representing a different version of the future you're about to choose. Artistic influence. Art installations along the pathways could feature interactive displays that change based on the viewer's proximity and energy, reflecting the choices being made. For example, murals might ripple and shift with color as you approach, illustrating the idea that nothing in the Nexus is fixed, not even the art. Interdimensional gardens. These gardens are unlike anything in the natural world. Plants and trees that shift between states of solidity and energy blur the line between existence and non-existence. The fractal growth patterns are endless and hypnotic, symbolizing the interconnectedness and infinite recursion of possibilities. As you move through an interdimensional garden, flowers could bloom and retract depending on the energy you project, while trees shimmer with translucent light, creating an environment that reflects the energy and dimension you're closest to. Artistic influence. These gardens inspire installations that play with the perception of time and space. Imagine sculptures that appear solid from one angle and ethereal from another, using refracted light to represent multiple dimensions converging in one space. The Nexus Web. Suspended like a neural network above the city, the Nexus Web is an ever-changing, glowing matrix that holds the city together. It embodies the thought processes, relationships, and connections between people, acting like the central nervous system of the city. Each thread is a pathway of energy, representing connections not just across physical distances, but across time, space, and dimension. Walking under this network, you feel the pulse of the city and know that every idea and action reverberates through the entire Nexus. Artistic influence. Art in the Nexus Web takes inspiration from neural patterns and energy flow. Imagine large kinetic sculptures that respond to nearby movement, glowing and shifting in sync with the city's pulse, reflecting the interconnectedness of everything within the Nexus. Portal nodes. These portal nodes are gateways, not just to different places, but to different versions of reality. Each glowing portal represents a different path your life could take, offering glimpses of alternate dimensions and potential futures. These spheres are radiant with energy, and as you step through, you find yourself not in a new location, but a new version of the city, or even a new version of yourself. Artistic influence. Portals inspire artworks that play with dimension and reflection. These pieces could look solid and spherical from one angle, but disappear entirely from another, using optical illusions and light to evoke the idea of stepping between realities. Murals near portal nodes might represent the city's inhabitants in different forms, reflecting the many versions of themselves existing across dimensions. The boundary of infinity. At the edges of the Nexus lies a liminal space that represents the infinite potential of the city. This boundary is a place where reality itself begins to lose coherence, merging into the vast possibilities beyond. Here, you can see fragments of other worlds, other times, and other versions of yourself, all mixing in a fluid, shimmering expanse. Artistic influence. Art in this space could explore the theme of dissolution and infinity, perhaps sculptures that appear unfinished or in the process of fading into the ether, symbolizing the breakdown of reality at the edge of the Nexus. Murals would bleed into the environment, shifting and changing as you observe them from different perspectives, playing with the idea that nothing is fixed at the boundary. Artistic integration. Incredibism City, the Nexus embraces the fluidity of form and meaning, where art, architecture, and nature blend seamlessly. The soft hues of blue, violet, silver, and gold represent the intangible flow of energy through the city. Installations shift with the pulse of the Nexus web, creating a visual language of movement and interaction. Paintings and murals reflect the layered realities, using shifting colors and perspectives to give each observer a different experience. Key artistic concepts. Kinetic energy in art. Many sculptures and installations would be kinetic, moving in response to the city's shifting energy. These murals would change based on the observer's presence and energy, creating a dynamic relationship between the artwork and the viewer. Fluid architecture. Buildings in the Nexus would almost feel alive, their forms gently shifting and adapting as if responding to unseen forces of interconnectedness. Light and transparency. The use of semi-transparent materials and glowing lights would dominate the city, representing the flow of energy and the constant convergence of realities. In Incredibism City, the Nexus, everything, art, architecture, and life, is interwoven into a web of infinite potential, where the boundaries between dimensions, time, and consciousness are constantly shifting, and every decision resonates across countless possibilities.